Hello guys and welcome to our channel. Will here. In today's video I'm talking about why I don't like dueling in general. I do it for fun, but I don't think for the most time it's fair or can tell you who's a better player or something like that. It gives you some indicators like who's understanding their build better or their build even better, who's understanding the other build better, like most of the classes in the game, who has better grasp on the mechanics, stuff like this, and it makes sense. But actually there's few things that doesn't make it completely fair, so trying to really guess who's better players through winning duels or 1v1, especially in duels, not 1v1 in general, are wrong in my opinion. And those indicators are either build countering, balance, and some elements in-game and some elements outside the game. Those are generally the 4 reasons why I don't think dueling is fair. And I'm gonna be going into them in details. Starting with balance, everyone knows this. The game's always there is some overpowered class, there's some overpowered build, and the others just don't catch up. And that make it extremely powerful. And then we go with build countering, which you're watching right here. I'm playing an immobile druid with little bit low damage and high healing with no other defensive capabilities like take no damage or a lot spam protection, stuff like this. While the other player play power SoulBeast, one of the best dueler build in the game right now, if not the best. He cannot be immobed for the most fight, and he can cleanse condition like mad with burst stance. He has extremely long duration when he have safe burst application. He even playing quick draw on this build, which give him longer burst and faster access to burst time. And he wanted to duel me here, which is an area of completely no line of sight, completely open field, and he has a higher killing potential, the fast kill, hard to recover, and longer range. So what can I do about this? Nothing. Rangers and generally can be countered through mixing a lot of CC with extremely high damage, power damage, not condition. So I have everything that doesn't affect him, and he have everything that completely kills me. So I'm gonna duel him again, another duel using the same build. But I will realize, of course, there is nothing I can do about this. There is no way I can win this. And in the third duel, I will be changing my tactics, starting using higher stability to nullify most of his damage, since I don't have stability except from CC Avatar skill 5, which would spare me only the next hit. So I would be going with an elite skill that will give me stability, Rampage's one. I can't really remember the name right now. My point is, Entangle for the most part doesn't really affect him, and it doesn't really give me that much value. Which you saw here is a little bit of Bing. I already braced the skill 5 to the staff, but it didn't work. And this is another problem we're gonna talk about later. But let's stick here with build countering. So because he countered me, I'll try to little bit counter his build, giving him a time that his burst and his skill will go on cooldown, and I still not dead, so my skill would do the rest for me. Doing that through the elite skill of stability. If you watched my video on how to fight rangers, or the last video which I had some duels against some revenant and a really good SoulBeast, you would have more of a clear visual about how I fight this or can make this possible. Because if you're playing a power SoulBeast, the immortal build, longbow greatsword, you shouldn't lose to any other ranger, to be honest. Not even core ranger, not even you should win at least against druid should be completely nullified at this point for you. So like you see, I was trying to force him. I'm waiting for stability to go, but I make a mistake which hit through it. I kinda a little bit not sure I would win this, like a little bit scared in a way. I even misclick my staff here, bracing skill 3 instead of 5. I finally catch him when I saw second one wolf back and waste his time with those two skills without him being able to apply any damage. So those two skills are gone at this point. He started resetting with block and stuff. I still catch him. He applied dolly extend, but he died. And now he can change something in his build like I did, but he leaving one wolf back and taking stability, and even could probably take it from his bit through bone transfer or copy. So he would have longer stability uptime, which I can't remove stability, so I can't apply to him Ancient Seed, and I would be forced to sustain his damage for longer period. So I would go something like Segment of Stone. So we can both keep changing stuff in our build to completely counter the other if we are like really good skill players, both of us. And that's leave you in another problem. Are you really can judge on losing or winning how good is I am or how good is he? Which in reality you can't, because we both are good players that whoever had better build at this point will win. Of course, I know he's playing a SoulBeast. He should win in general. He should be able to win any fight against the Druid. Especially going with something like burst stance and stuff like this. He can remove condition like mad, and his damage is way more than I can handle. But still, even we can say here like I'm better because how his build work. So this is another point you need to keep in mind if you are like trying to decide who's better in a duel. I stealth immediately before rapid fire, so it doesn't track me in stealth. I use another stability, and at this point he would be trading blows with nothing to survive or sustain himself. I catch him with another entangle, I go with more CC, and he was running for his life. Nothing left, no condition removal, nothing. I'm gonna give you another example on fighting SoulBeast in not a duel situation. So I can do whatever the game gave me to survive him and win. Of course, like we said, SoulBeast is favored. It is the stronger dueler. It is insanely powerful. It is too safe to even apply the burst. So I'm going for this rock to obstruct most of his damage, going around it, spin around it round and round to obstruct most of his damage. So my limited survivability through dodges and the heal, which doesn't really compensate for all the damage, would be enough, since most of his hits will not even be delivered to me. So I kite here far, since I have a projectile barrier. I take that healing and then moving him again, trying to move around the rock. There's gonna be a while in this duel. So I try to see him to his face. He break out of it with Unflinching Fortitude, which is a beast skill from merging with the bit. He have a lot of immobilize removal. Yeah, we had the ice on each other, so I think he wanted to counter me on this build or something. But his build is extremely effective, of course, because he already have a lot of boon application, higher survivability, condition removal, since he wouldn't waste most of his condition removal just to remove immobilize. He would remove it through multiple means. So at this point I catch him with another CC to his face. I'm trying to obstruct here. He moved to this side, I moved to the other side, but I was afraid I couldn't climb, so I'd be stuck to his damage, and I ended up eating the damage anyway. He's on melee, so I kite far from Zarag because I don't care. I go with a projectile barrier, so he would force to stay in melee, which not smart, because I should have estimated the time better, 10 seconds of weapon swipe. We both see each other at this point. And I wanted to catch him with Entangle, another skill. I interrupt him with a Glyph and ended up catching him with Entangle. At this damage I was applying insane damage to him, either he cleanse or die. I applied Entangle inside Doliak, which is stupid. I know a longbow would be coming here, but I still have lightning reflexes. And at this point I was chasing for the kill. I CC him to prevent the damage from applying, but he stun break and applies the damage anyway. I catch him with Entangle, I heal under him for more cover condies, I burst to his face at this point, and the fight was over. So there is an indicator, as you saw, about countering build, balancing game in general, and I'm gonna give you something else, which is when something outside of your hand. For me, it is ping mostly. I have 200, 300 ping all the time. And how the game work, it will register like a hit or whatever, and because your internet is slow in general, as you see, I'm already line of sighted, but the game keep counting hits that I shouldn't have been taken and already considered actually hit I took. I was kicked out of the wall, so like it's a line of sight between them. I should be obstructed, but the game still counts hits, which is another problem, like the thing outside of your hand. Like Bing, your PC itself is weak or something like this, and for me it's mostly Bing. And Bing doesn't allow you even to see some animation skills. You don't notice it. It is extremely slow. I've played on a better Bing sometimes like this, about like 150, and only going a little bit low like this allowed me to see stuff that I couldn't usually. And people who play on only 50 or 40 Bing, it is extremely different for them. So this is another also detail. You can't have the same condition or the same fair rule if you don't have the same capabilities, and it's something you can't control, like Bing in the game and stuff like this. And this is another duel which I'm against a build which I almost doesn't understand at all. I noticed how much damage he can apply to me, especially if I'm near him, so I'm trying to stay away from him, I guess. And this is another example in game which, even though I don't understand the build fully, but the build is extremely overpowered, which is a clear example on balancing and bad balancing in the game sometimes. It's not because of my build can handle his build. This build have a lot of projectile reflection, so he would stop every one who fight from range, except something like I don't know, condition necro or something, and even them hand sub projectiles. And have insane amount of cleanses, which he doesn't really need to build into. Which one of the problem, a lot of people talk about why Druid support in general is bad, because they lack the capabilities other classes can offer, with Tempest being the top of them. Can do insane damage while still have insane healing, insane condition cleanses, a lot of aura spam, projectile reflection, and all that within the fight themselves. So this build can apply insane damage to me and have burning, and burning still do a lot of damage in the game. It should be somehow changed, I guess. Like a single hit, this signet use, if I don't remove the burning, I think this one skill can kill me at this point. It doesn't even take that much time. The damage is insanely high. So his class need nerf, simple as that. But we always, we know the drill. We nerf something, we buff something, another something is strong. It is like always with the meta struggle. And you will have just to go through it, I guess. In this build, he has at least 2 reflecting aura application. If not, even he use a shield, I guess, so another reflect and probably another aura. And use focus 3 for reflect, and air focus 4, sorry, and air 4 if I remember, or 3 if I remember correctly, and all that nullify projectile. So for most of the time I can't hit him with projectile, and even have high stability access, so I can't even hit him with stability even when he doesn't have projectile reflection, and that put me in an insane problem. I hope this would give you guys a little bit of a clearer indicator on why do I think that. I think a simple fight like a 1v1 with no rules, you can do whatever you do, doesn't even tell you who's the best player, but it can be at least a higher indicator, since you can compensate for whatever problem. You made your own choices and you can live with them in whatever fight you are playing. So you can go to water, you can line of sight someone, you can juke him to go down a place and not go there, stuff like this. That are not really possible to do in a duel. It doesn't have the traditional rules in a duel, like not going very far away, staying in the area you both choose, which usually doesn't happen. People wanna duel you in areas most of the time people duel in, which are not really working for every build and working for another build more than the other one. So that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed and got something useful from it. Tell me what you think in the comments, and discuss whatever point you like to, and I'll be seeing you next time.